Hey guys, welcome back. This is Professor Eric Roldan, and we're going to begin our new chapter, chapter 4, on systems of numeration. In our first section, we're going to be getting into is 4.1 and a little bit of 4.2. It's kind of combined, and so it's called additive and place value systems of numeration. All right, so let's begin. All right, so we're gonna skip the history lesson. It's a cool fact in the Did You Know section of page 165. And I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and work on that on your own by reading that passage. It's very short, but this is something you can do in class. And I might ask you to turn this in. So we're going to go ahead and go to the difference between number and numeral. All right, so the difference between a number and a numeral, if you haven't thought about it before, is that a number is just a quantity. It answers the question, how many? Okay, so how many students? How many chairs? We can count. Okay, there's physical items you actually count. And now civilization has, throughout history, used different numerals to represent those quantities, those numbers. Okay, so a numeral is a symbol that represents the number. Okay, for example, if you count 10 students for us, okay, for us it is a 1 and a 0, and that makes the numeral 10. In Roman numerals, it's an X. Okay, in Egyptian hieroglyphics, it is a upside down horseshoe. All right, so those are 3 different examples of numerals that represent the same quantity. They all represent 10. All right, so what is a system of numeration? A system of numeration is a set of numerals and their particular rules for combining other numerals to represent numbers. Okay? Okay, so for us we have 0 through 9, and so our numeral or our symbol for representing 10 of something, you have to take the 1, put it in the second spot, and put the 0 in the first spot. So that's what we mean by that, and it starts over every 10. Okay. So what are 4 examples of systems of numeration? First of all, we have an additive system. Okay, that's like the Egyptian. And Roman. Okay, we have multiplicative, very interesting system, something we will not be doing in this course, but is in the text if you want to look it up. This would be like the Chinese system. We have the ciphered, more of an ancient, like the Ionic Greek system, and actually we have more than two, so Hebrew and early Arabic. Okay. All right, the last one is the place value system. I'm putting this in red because this is the one we use. This is the Hindus and the Arabs came up with this, and it's actually the most common. Why? Because it's base 10. Okay? And that's what we call the decimal number system. Okay? So, the system we use is called the Hindu Arabic. The Hindu Arabic system. All right? Now, our powers of 10 would be 1, 10, 100. Just keep moving the 1 over. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, so on and so forth. Now what we're going to do is take a look at the Egyptian system of numeration first, and then the Roman. So let's start with the Egyptian, and this has 1 here, and that's basically a staff. Okay, it's like a vertical stroke. The 10, as I have already mentioned, is the upside down U, looks like a heel bone, or the arch. Okay, the 100 is this figure, and it's called the scroll, or it looks like a coiled rope. Okay. The 1,000 is a lotus flower. The 100,000, I'm sorry, the 10,000 is a pointing finger. The 100,000 is a fish, which we call the tadpole. Looks like a fish, but make sure you put a nice little eye there. And then the astonished person, like, wow, $1 million, I won the lottery. Okay. All right, so those are the Egyptian numerals. So now let's take a look at an example of how they would write, that would represent numbers with a numeral. So here we have a numeral. Okay, it's pretty long because this is very not very sophisticated. So basically, we're gonna take those two and these two, put them together. Okay, so we can just say, hey, 2 pointy fingers means that's 200,000. 3 lotus flowers is 3,000. 4 scrolls, that's going to be 400. 5 heel bones, that's going to be 50. and 2 staffs would be 2. So you just add those up and get 23,452. Okay? So why don't you try number 2? This is in reverse. Let me get you started. So first, I recommend I guess expanding it out. So you need something to represent that. The 200,000, you need something to represent that. The 2,000, what is that? The 300, the 60, and the 4. Okay. So pause the video and see you in a few minutes. All right, so you should have gotten the astonished person. Yeah, sorry about that. I actually put some more details and I just got carried away there. But you got your 2 little tadpoles. You got your 2. Oops, I think I wrote that down wrong. It's supposed to be. Okay, no, that's right. So the 2 flowers, the 3 scrolls, the 6 heel bones, and 4 staff. All right, there you go. All right, we're gonna go ahead and go to the Roman numeral system. So turning to the back, we have the Roman numerals, okay? Now, as you can see, you have the 1, then you have the V, you have the X, the L, the C, the D, and the M, okay? That's what they mean in our system. So, just a couple things to remember. Gets a little tricky, but we'll get through this. So, the first one is starting at the left, add each numeral unless its value is smaller than the value of the numeral to its right. So, for example, you guys all know that if you take 5 and you put the 1 after it, that's 5 plus 1, which is 6. But if you put the 1 before the 5, because this position is before the 5, you're going to do 5 minus 1, which is 4. Okay? So that's kind of what that's talking about there. Now, when you're doing the subtraction, only these can be subtracted. Okay? And they can only be subtracted from the next 2 higher numbers. Okay? So you can't take 1 and subtract it from 1,000. Okay? You can't take 5, subtract it from 500. There's got to be only 2 levels away from our chart up there. A numeral cannot be repeated more than 3 times. Okay? And these particular ones cannot be repeated. All right? So no more than 3 times. So for example, you can't do 40 as x, 4 x's. Okay, you just can't do that. And then if you have a bar over the numeral, it means to multiply. All right, so let's take a look at the first one. So MM, CC, 3 C's, L, and then X plus 2. So, I mean, you can basically put that's 12 there, but all right, let's do the MM first. So 2 M's is 2,000. 3 C's is 300. The L is 50, X is 10, and the two bars is 2, or II, and basically that is 12. So you don't have to put 10 plus 2 if you don't want, but here we go. So add all this up, it's 2,362. Okay. All right, so try the next one on your own. Okay, we're back, and you should have gotten 1,746. And how did I get that? The M is 1,000, the D is 500, the 2 C's is 200. Now the tricky part is the X before the L. So notice that L is 50, X is 10. So the 10 is before the 50, which means we're not going to add, we're going to subtract. So it's going to be 50 minus 10, which is 40, and then 40 plus the 6, and that's 1,746. All right, next we want to do 999. Okay, so remember I mentioned you cannot subtract 1. Okay, you cannot subtract 1 from 1,000 to get. This is incorrect. So, what's the closest number we can get to 999 without going over? How about 900? So whoops. So we can do something for 900, we can do the 90, and we can do the 9. So the 900, we can do 1,000 instead of minus 1, we can do 1,000 minus 100. Okay, so 1,000 minus 100 is going to be so put the 100 first, okay, which is the C, and put it before the M. That's 1,000 minus 100. Then the 90, we need 100 minus 10 to get 90. So we need to put that 10 first, and then the 100. And then for the 9, we need to get the 10, but subtract 1 from it. Okay. Oops, that's a 5. So in each case, these were all subtracting to get the numbers, okay? All right. So why don't you try number 6 on your own, pause the video, and see you in a few minutes. Okay, so number 6, you should have gotten MMCCLXXX and V. Okay, 2,000 is the MM, 200 is the CC, 80 is L plus, 50 plus 30, and then the last one is just 5. All right, so let's just take a look at, that's basically it for 4.1. Let's take a look at 4.2 just to kind of get a little background on how we do things in our Hindu Arabic system. Okay, so we've kind of been working through that a little bit. So what we need to do is go ahead and expand. Okay, so just like we did up there in the previous examples, this is going to be 4,000 plus 600 plus 70 plus 2. Okay? But we need to take it a step further because this is base 10. How did these numbers get here? Why are they in the place value? Remember, our system only has numerals from 0 through 9. Okay? So we use positions and powers of 10. So this is really a 4 times 10 to the third power. Okay, so this is in base 10. And this 6 is actually a 6 times 10 to the second power. So however many zeros you have is the power you're going to put of 10. Okay, this is 7 times 10 to the first power. And this doesn't have a 0, so it's going to be 2 times 10 to the 0 power. That's the ones place. So if you remember from grade school, this is the ones place because that's a 1. This is the tens place because that's a 10. There's a hundreds place because that's a 100. And this is a thousand, the thousands place because that's 1,000. Okay? Now, you go ahead and try number 8. Alright, so you should have gotten this expanded form right here. Okay? Now we have expanded form, and we want to go ahead and turn that into our number system. So this is going to be 2 with 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need a comma there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1 and no 0. Put this all together, and basically you have 230,675. Okay? And you try the next one. Okay, so 53,007,902. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the workbook. Now I'm going to do a few more practice problems in the book to kind of get you with a little bit more exposure. All right, so here's a couple problems to kind of look at. So this one has astonished. Oops. Excuse my drawings here. So basically, all right, great. So it looks like I was recording, and I was talking and was not recording. So sorry about that. Anyways, this is no big deal. So here's 14, here's 20. Okay, shouldn't be that bad. Just let me know if you have questions or issues. Let's go to 27 and 29. Alright, 27 is this. MM, CM, XL, V, and I. So this is something. Now the C is before the M, so this is something. The X is before the L, so this is something. And the 1 is after the 5. So we could just put this, go ahead and put that together. So mm, that's 2,000. So the C, which is 100 before the M, that's 900. X before the L, that's 50 minus 10 is 40. And this is 6, so 2,946. Now 29 is an interesting one. It has, has a line over it. Then it has C, D, X, C, I, X. Okay, so obviously, guys, this is a 4. But if you go back to the notes, the last note, it says a bar over a numeral means to multiply by 1,000. So this guy right here is actually 4,000. Okay? Plus C and D. So C is before. Actually, I didn't give you a chance to do this. So I guess that's my hint. Let me give you a couple more hints here. All right. So those 3 are together, and I did the first one for you. That's a 4 times 1,000. That's 4,000. So pause the video, see how you do. Okay, there you have it. There's number 29. 4,000 plus 400 plus 90 plus 4, 4,494. All right, let's do a few more. Numbers 42 and 43. So 42 says, let's do the opposite. Let's write this as Roman numerals, okay? So it's better if you separate this out. In expanded form. So 10,000. So 10,000 is off our charts here. Okay. It's beyond, way beyond the M. So what we can do is just put a 1 or an I and put, actually no, 2 I. So put a 2. No, I'm sorry, hold on. We need a 10, my bad. So a 10 times 1,000 will be 10,000. Okay. 4,000. Okay, we can do a 4 with a bar over it. Okay. Or we just do, yeah. So if you try, you can't put 4 M's because that's 1 letter too many. Okay. So 4,000 looks good there, and then 300 is going to be 3 C's, and then an X and a 5. Okay. That's 42, and let's do 43. So why don't you try to do this one on your own and see how you do. Pause the video, see you in a few minutes. All right, so 40,000. I got my L minus my 10, which is 40. So 50 minus 10 is 40, times 1,000 is 40,000. And then I got the numeral 6 here. So right here, I got 6 times 1,000, 6,000. This is 200. This is right here is 50 plus 30, which is 80 right here. And then I got my 1. All right, that's it. So have fun doing this. Definitely, you can see how this changes up our topics here, and we're going to see some interesting things in 4.3, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.